Hey, it's Matthew Berry from the Fantasy Focus Football Podcast. Today on the show, Stefania Bell, Field Yates, and myself. Well, we bortle our way through an entire Week 10 recap. What's real, what isn't, who's banged up, who's not. It's all about Zeke, my friends. His world, we just live in it.
Attention.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show.
Dan looks terribly puffy and hungover. Yep.
Dan Le Batard.
I haven't been paying attention to sports at all.
Stugotz.
Get with it, Dip.
Greg Cote.
Hello.
This is the real base.
How excited are you, Cody? You've got the book in front of you. How excited are you about the idea that the Goat Man is going to be on with us?
I am, for one reason. As a kid, one of my nicknames was Greg Goat.
Base is pumping.
Greg Cote says to me before the show starts, man, that Mickey Mouse was really popular. I'm going to try and find a way to sneak it in during the show today. And I'm like, don't force it.
I'm an 88-year-old mouse. They still have me wearing little boy pants. I'm trying to talk him into wearing a nice pair of gabardine slacks. Minnie, bring Daddy another scotch.
I'm a people person. And the bigger the celebrity is, the more I act like I'm not impressed by who they are.
That's how you have to do it. You're right.
Yeah. They don't want you to fawn all over them.
Yeah.
You know, that's the last thing you do when you go up to a celebrity is like, oh, I loved you in, Mr. Doubtfire. You go up to an actor, you act like you don't know who it is. They like that.
Ms. Doubtfire.
Whatever.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Hello.
I was watching terrible football last night, smiling at the television because poor Stugotz is on the worst kind of gambling run. Let me give you some backstory here. Greg Cote of the Miami Herald is in with us today. I don't think Greg knows much of what I'm about to say. So here's what happened last week. First of all, for the season, Stugotz is 21 games under 500 against the spread. He's picking 6 games a week, except that one week he tried to catch up by picking 15, and he didn't have a winning week that week either. He has not had a single winning week yet this season. But here's what he had happening last night that was funny. We do this grid of death, bucket of death every week where you reach into a bucket, grab helmets, and it's a suicide pool. If your team loses that week, you have to go to the grid of death and dress up in some sort of shame. That's why yesterday, and this is always something that's funny on this grid of death day, that's why yesterday, I'm always on these days where I'm dressed like this, hoping that I don't say something that goes viral. Because what happened yesterday is I said a thing and it went viral, and then I'm there and no one's really understanding why I'm dressed as Blobby Petrino. That's what happened yesterday. When we're dressed up in these costumes and all of a sudden I'm giving serious racial analysis on something and it goes viral and I'm dressed as Blobby Petrino with a neck brace and a woman's large shirt on. Mike, by the way, Allison said she tried that on yesterday and it was too tight on her.
It may have been a youth large.
You pulled it out of the box thinking that fit me.
Yeah, well,
it barely fit around one of my arms.
Yeah. I really blew that, Dan. I don't know what. Yeah.
All right. Or you made it better.
Yeah, I think I made it better.
Yeah, you made it better and are now pretending that it was all a big accident. Anyway, Stugotz pulls out of the bucket, Greg, that his picks that week, if he has a winning week, he won't have to go to the grid of death. If he has a losing week, he does have to go to the grid of death. So he's going into last night's game, he's 2-2.
Mm-hmm.
And we said that if he even gets a push, he doesn't have to go to the grid of death. So he's got the Giants -2. But that line moved during the week, so it got to pick him. So he's got the Giants at -2. So what ends up happening is, of course, the Giants win by 1. Stugotz loses, has another losing week, and the epic gambling run continues of never having had a winning week this season, which there's going to be a 30 for 30 on one day.
What if I told you that the pursuit of perfection isn't always a good thing. That 0 for 14 on your gambling picks isn't just possible, but will likely have real-life consequences. That my picks are for entertainment purposes only. That I gave you a sly wink and air quotes when I said that thing about my picks being for entertainment purposes only. That I've run into some pretty rough people you don't want to owe money to. That I've just taken out a third mortgage. That my daughters are going to have to make new friends in public school. That I know way too much about the University of Hawaii's football team because I'm always up late chasing. That my wife is probably leaving me and taking the kids. That if someone you never met before starts asking you questions about where I've been, tell them you haven't seen me in a while and immediately text me so I can get on the next flight to El Salvador. That I know it's been a rough couple of weeks, but I've got a great feeling about the Titans plus 6.5 on Sunday. ESPN Films presents a 30 for 30 about one man's fight to keep both his kneecaps.
Now, Greg Cote picks games for the Miami Herald, and headed into last week, he was 23 games over 500 against the spread.
Ouch.
He was 76, 53, and 4 against the spread. So last night, though, what's funny about that, if you're a gambler...
There's nothing funny about it.
Everything's funny about it.
Plenty is funny about this.
But here's what you've got. So the end of this game is Stugotz watching this game, right?
Oof.
And this bleeping Ben McAdoo finally decides to be the guy that I always want in coaching. Nobody does what he did early in the fourth quarter, down 20-14, 4th and goal at the 2. Everyone kicks the field goal there.
Yep.
Everybody kicks the field goal there. And so I was happy to see, hey, look at this. My guy, like he looks like he's wearing a disguise. His haircut costs $3. I don't know the look he's going for exactly, but it's not leadership. My guy showing gutsiness while Stugotz falls to his knees because he's doing all this math, saying, no, just give me a field goal here and I'll get a field goal later. I'll tie the game. I'll take my chances in overtime. Just something to get me over -2.
I was so concerned because they go for it. They get it. They score the touchdown. They're up 1. And then I'm thinking Cincinnati field goal, Giants field goal to win the game, and I've lost. Like, there's no – I was so mad. And I was thinking about you because I'm like, wow, McAdoo finally doing the thing that Dan's been begging coaches to do, but I was so upset with him, man.
Who does that? Who goes for it? 20-14, 2 field goals get you a tie, 4th and goal at the 2. Who's the coach who does that?
That was surprising to me, particularly because it's not like they're a 1-8 team with nothing to lose. I mean, I can think of a couple of coaches would. Del Rio in Oakland has really made some interesting decisions.
Maybe Belichick, Carroll, guys like that.
Yeah,
and guys with job security.
Yeah, and Tomlin with going for 2 a lot.
I heard Sean McDonough say last night that the Giants have won 6 games by 21 points. You guys realize they're the same team that they were last year? They've just been luckier this year?
Yep.
6 games by 21 points.
McAdoo figured it out.
Yeah. Right.
I think they're the worst in the NFL in rushing. Like their turnover margin is one of the worst in the NFL.
Well, what I do like about the team, one of the few things I do like, and it's always a precarious thing when you're trusting Eli to not be reckless. I love any team that can fail twice on 1st and 2nd down and is pretty good at converting third. They felt like they were 3rd and 9, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 11 all game, and yet you still fear that they're going to convert the 3rd and 11 because they don't mind throwing the ball a little bit downfield. I marvel at the wide margin for error that Odell Beckham gives Eli Manning. Like, you throw the ball anywhere in the middle of the field where he is, and he can jump up and catch misthrown balls. Here is what I'm about to say. So the moment A.J. Green, because A.J. Green does the same thing for Andy Dalton, allowed you a wide berth to be imprecise. The moment A.J. Green starts limping, Andy Dalton is terrible.
Right. Yeah. If I were thinking of any team in the league where the one outstanding receiver makes the quarterback, I was thinking of A.J. Green even before you said that.
That's where the game changed for Cincinnati. All of a sudden, it's taken longer for people to get open, and the defensive line of New York's just getting after him.
But I'm saying, hold on a second. Andy Dalton is paid like $100 million quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Is what I'm saying so? It's not A.J. Green's out, because it's so. When A.J. Green's out, Andy Dalton's terrible. If A.J. Green is in any way diminished while still playing, Andy Dalton becomes terrible.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean,
Andy Dalton needs to give A.J. Green 3/4 of his salary. 3/4 of it. Give it to him.
Just give it to him.
Put it in a fund for his children.
I mean, even when he's there and healthy, he's just kind of average, right?
Correct. But when he's if he's hobbled even a little bit, if a calf is bothering him a little bit, all of a sudden A.J. Dalton is useless. Andy Dalton is useless.
Mm-hmm.
I remember years ago talking to Mark Clayton of the Dolphins about how lucky he and Mark Duper were to have Dan Marino throwing toward them. And Clayton looks at me with a little smile and says, Duper and I put him in Canton. You know, it's all a matter of perspective on who makes soup.
Well, but in those cases, though, we knew that both sides were great. In this case, I only know that A.J. Green is great.
True.
But how about this, though? I'm going to give you some Ben McAdoo lookalikes because I can't believe that my coach. We'll make fun of Stugotz gambling some more in a second.
Great.
But my coach, Ben McAdoo, looks like a pirate from an off-strip Vegas show circa 1996. My coach, Ben McAdoo, looks like the manager of a struggling hot tub outlet store. Ben McAdoo looks like divorce. Ben McAdoo looks like your friend who hates the NBA for being soft and not playing defense like they did when Bird played. Ben McAdoo looks like the guy who has taken it upon himself to keep the condo pool free of leaves. Ben McAdoo looks like a bowler who is shown on ESPN Classic. Ben McAdoo looks like he grills a mean burger, calls his son big guy, and loves saying, get some rest, we've got a big day tomorrow. No, really. That's why I skipped that one on the list. I didn't think it deserved it, and I came back to it. Ben McAdoo looks like the guy who married the hottest girl in high school 20 years later and takes care of her 6 kids while she's out at the bar with her ex. Ben McAdoo looks like a man who's been lost in Lowe's for 2 hours. Ben McAdoo looks like a contestant on Wheel of Fortune. No. Ben McAdoo looks like the instructor in a 1980s bus driver training video.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Now you can test drive Snapshot to see how much you could save before switching to Progressive. Visit progressive.com/snapshot. The Dan Le Batard Show is brought to you by Rocket Mortgage, by Quicken Loans. Call 800-QUICKEN or go to quickenloans.com. Today, here's your SportsCenter update. Giants over the Bengals last night, 21-20 on Monday Night Football. Eli Manning, 240 yards, 3 touchdowns. Giants improved to 6-3. Bengals fall to 3-5-1. College football playoff rankings released tonight, 9 Eastern on ESPN. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in the SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
It is Dan and Stu from the Clevelander in South Beach on ESPN Radio.
Dan Le Batard.
Trailers for sale or rent. Rooms to let 50 cents.
Stugotz.
I'm Greg Cote, and that's how it was back in my day.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Catch me and Mike Golick Jr. every Sunday for weekend observations from 7 to 9 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Greg Cote giving the Straight Talk is brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, half the cost.
We'll get back to making fun of Stugotz's gambling in a moment. He is 21 games under 500 for the season. He has not had a single winning week. It has been a marvel to watch the number of different ways that he has had every week ruined. He's had a couple 0-6 weeks.
Yeah.
He started 0-14.
I did. And then I won a game, and you were very upset, but we have found a new streak here because you wanted me to go winless the entire year, but the new streak is I haven't had a winning week. That's it.
That's right.
Yep.
That's so difficult. I mean, it is as tough. It would be as tough to go 0-16 as it would be to go 16-0.
So here is Mike Evans has released a statement to Josina Anderson. I'm curious what you guys think about this. Mike Evans, an excellent receiver for the Tampa Bay Bucks, who decided to sit during the anthem on Sunday to protest the election of Donald Trump. He says, I want to start by apologizing to all the U.S. military members, their families, and the fans who I offended by my actions on Sunday. It was never my intention, as I have tremendous respect for the men and women who serve our country. I have very strong emotions regarding some of the many issues that exist in our society today. I chose to sit as an expression of my frustration toward this year's election. It was very personal for me, as it was for so many Americans. With that being said, I will not sit again during the national anthem because I want to focus my efforts on finding more effective ways to communicate my message and bring about change by supporting organizations and movements that fight for equal rights for minorities. This Sunday, I will be back standing with my teammates. I'm guessing he got a decent amount of pressure inside of his organization for what he did.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with him expressing himself like that, but what I do have a problem with is that it also came out that Mike Evans didn't vote in the election. And to me, if you're going to make a stand like that against the result of an election and you didn't bother to vote for your candidate in what was an extremely close race, your ability to make a statement with any real resonance is diminished.
Well, I'm not interested in doing that move because I think you can have opinions about other things without feeling, as Colin Kaepernick did, that any candidate speaks to you. You don't think that any candidate speaks to you, and we talked about this last week. There are other things that Colin Kaepernick could have voted outside of the presidency that would have affected minorities. I don't like what happens here, right? Which is someone protests X and we figure out ways to diminish the messenger and the message. Here's why he did it wrong. Here's how he did it wrong. Here's why he's wrong. As if there would ever be someone who would be a perfect messenger for us with a protest of this kind. There would be none. We would always find the ways to slice and dice anybody who made an appearance here doing this kind of thing. What I do wonder about when it comes to Mike Evans, he said it wasn't political, that he doesn't care about politics at all. His cause was a racial one. What I wonder about is why didn't you then do it with Kaepernick? Because that's what Kaepernick was doing. Kaepernick wasn't entering into the politics of this. He was entering into the race of this, and he was entering into the stop shooting black people with your guns. Like, why didn't, if race was the issue for him,
why didn't he kneel with Kaepernick?
Why
did he say after the game he did it because of the results of the election?
But I'm not criticizing what he did. I'm just curious. I wonder why. I'm not interested in criticizing. I believe that everyone should be protesting whatever it is that they want to protest.
Regardless of whether they voted or...
Yeah, I told you this before. I don't care about... I don't know why the anthem is at games, and I don't view that as a disrespect to our military. I view that as respectful to our military. I don't even get it. I don't even... Put that on the poll, Guillermo, please, even though it's a super sportsy poll. Do you view sitting during the anthem as a disrespect of our military? Yes or no? Cody?
I don't. No, I don't. In fact, I think it's a celebration in a way of what made America great and has for its entire history.
I view it as a celebration of our military. If you're going to do that, if you're going to make it about our military instead of just a song that shouldn't be during the game.
Right.
Another interesting thing to this whole story is Edward Glazer had a pretty hefty donation to Donald Trump.
Well, I'm telling
that's
you,
the interesting part.
It's one of the interesting parts. Okay. I'm telling you, he got pressure inside of his organization for what it is that he was doing.
Sure did.
But I think the point I made is very fair. If you're going to protest against the fact that Trump was elected, which indicates to me that you probably wanted Trump's opponent, but didn't vote, it's very hollow to me.
I don't think you need to vote to object to the results. I don't.
Cody, that would make it better. That would make it better but I'm not interested in doing that dance. What if neither candidate spoke to you? Kaepernick, Malcolm X, we talked about this last week. Malcolm X didn't vote. Kaepernick looked at both of those candidates. Would it have been better if Kaepernick had voted, but had voted for Harambe?
The issue to me is that if you're protesting the election of Trump, my presumption is that you preferred Hillary. Okay, that's my presumption. I may be wrong.
No, Kaepernick said it was the lesser of two evils. I didn't want to vote for evil. That's what Kaepernick said.
We're talking about Mike Evans now.
Right.
Okay. Mike Evans,
who came out and said that he knelt for the answer because of the election.
But you could also diminish Kaepernick this way because Kaepernick did not vote. Mm-hmm. You could, if you wish to condemn Kaepernick, this is one way to do it.
But to me, they're two different issues because Kaepernick was all about the Black Lives Matter movement and the issue of blacks being killed unjustly. That's different in a way than protesting the election of Trump.
But no, not from what Mike Evans said. Mike Evans was basically saying this is a race issue for me.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on a second. Can I backtrack for a second? Because I had a look that swept across Greg Cote's face. Do you not know who Harambe is? I felt like what just happened there. I'm not making fun of you. It's okay to not know who Harambe is.
Sure.
15,000 people voted for a dead gorilla.
Right. The Cincinnati Zoo, right?
Right.
Should
Kaepernick, if Kaepernick had voted, but that had been his vote,
right?
Or if Mike Evans had voted, but that had been his vote, would you have been okay with that?
Of course not.
Why? It's voting. It's a protest vote.
He went there. He stood in line.
It's a protest vote. He went, stood in line, and made a statement.
Sure.
That he didn't like either of the candidates. He liked a dead gorilla.
Right. Why didn't he write in my name? Now, that would have been a hell of a vote. How many votes I got? Nationwide. Can we look that up?
I'm on it.
Thank you.
How did you turn this into how many?
I love it when Stugotz says, I'm on it. I love it.
Payday, payday, it is payday.
Men, when you look at yourself in the mirror in the morning, do you say to yourself, I'm one sexy son of a mother? Of course not. That's silly. No man does that. Except for maybe Stugotz.
Yep.
But you can feel that way by using the tools from the good folks at Dollar Shave Club. I'm one sexy son of a mother.
There are over 3 million sexy, what'd you say?
Son of a mother.
There you go. 3 million members no longer overpay for a quality morning shave.
He got scared of that. He almost said mother bleeper. Like he got scared of it.
Way to have my back there, though. It's a good teammate. Over 3 million members no longer overpay for a quality morning shave, and new members can get their first month for free. DSC is so much more than just razors, though. Pre- and post-shave formulas, skin protection formulas, killer hairstyling products, and an amazing soap and body wash. The products work amazingly. The service is world-class, and there's no commitment, no hidden fees. Cancel whenever you want. Get your first month free at dollarshaveclub.com/Dan. Just pay shipping after that. It's just a few bucks. That's dollarshaveclub.com/Dan.
Dale, you're listening to the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio. Dan Le Batard.
There was some confusion this weekend when everyone was retweeting Tony Dungy's Twitter account because the U and the I are very close together and you don't want to hit the I when you write the word shutting.
Stugotz.
When Dungy discovered his mistake, he must have gone, holy shut.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guest on the Dan Le Batard Show. Appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Choose Shell V-Power Nitro Plus Premium Gasoline for the best total engine protection you can get. Here's your SportsCenter update. Giants over the Bengals last night, 21-20 on Monday Night Football. Eli Manning, 240 yards, 3 touchdowns. Giants improved to 6-3. Bengals fall to 3-5-1. College football playoff rankings released tonight, 9 Eastern on ESPN. And finally, McDonald's in Italy has launched a Nutella burger. Sometimes kickoff comes early. At Hampton by Hilton, that's when they run the option. Take your pick of free hot breakfast for here or breakfast on the run bags to go because tailgate waits for no fan. Book at Hampton.com for a guaranteed discount. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
This is not my objection. I didn't even hear it. I just saw a sour look on Mike Ryan's face. How do you pronounce the first meal of the day?
Breakfast.
That's more like it.
I mean, I've been trying really hard with that word. It's a tough word for me. I eat H's. We know that. I occasionally eat a K, a little side dish with my H's.
I did not know that you ate K's.
That's a tough one.
Breakfast. He only eats K's when it comes to breakfast. He always calls it breakfast.
Yeah. Breakfast. I do. Breakfast. It's easier for me. I don't know.
Greg Cote's Back in My Day is coming up here in minutes. Texter writes in here, though, Le Batard, I'm a huge fan, but all the race talk you've been doing lately is exhausting. I'm a loyal listener, and I'm getting worn down. If you're exhausted hearing about racism, imagine what it's like to experience it. Mm-hmm. You're so tired. And what I would say to you is if you're so tired, and I don't say this with any rancor whatsoever, you have the ability to end it. Not by telling me to end it, because I'm never going to end it, but you can stop listening to the show. And if enough of you do it, the show will end. So you have the power, and you can use it. I don't say this with any rancor whatsoever. If you don't like it, you have the power to stop it. Not because I'm going to stop it, because I'm not going to stop it no matter how many times you ask me to stop it. And in fact, the more you ask me to stop it, the less likely I am to stop it.
Stop asking him to stop it. So I mean, I'm a loyal co-host. I got to be honest. I'm a little like I'm worn down and tired.
That's fine. That's fine. You can stop listening too. You have the power to
stop listening years ago.
But you also have the power to end it. You also have the power to end all of it.
Not really.
Yes, you do.
I don't think so.
You have the power to end it. You can stop doing the show, and the show will end.
You're telling me if I stop doing the show's going to end?
Yes.
You're going to stop doing radio?
Yes, the show ends with you.
Well, I wouldn't want to do that to you or the audience
to me.
or all the people here. I mean.
Unleash the chicken.
Wait.
To me.
Wait, can I laugh a little bit more?
To me.
Yo, chicken time.
I deserve this one.
Actually, I thought he was pretty considerate.
Thank you.
No, he's full of it.
You wouldn't want this to do it to me.
That's rich.
It's a bar mitzvah year. Lord knows how many side projects he's got going to pay for that bar mitzvah. For me, old brother Teresa over here.
Yeah. I care about you, man.
The tell!
Not gonna
the scratching. That's when you're lying. When you scratch your left armpit across your body is when you're lying. I'm going to start pointing out the tell every time it makes an appearance.
That was a real itch.
Yeah. It's such a strange place that you always get the itch.
Is that the dignity trying to escape his body?
He always scratches his left armpit when he's lying. That was amazing. Time now for Greg Cote's Back in My Day.
And now, it is time to take a trip down memory lane. Here's your guy, Greg Cote, with Back in My Day.
Beautiful people! You know who you are. And now you are organizing into a growing, high-heeled militia. I wish I were making this up. It does read like a Saturday Night Live skit, but it is sadly true. There is a group called BeautifulPeople.com that accepts as new members only people who are voted in by existing members based on physical appearance. Now they have a social club just for them, entirely populated by people who meet their standards. The director of all this is a guy named Greg Hodge, and the surprise is that he would attach his name publicly to such a brainstorm of shallowness and vapidity. Said Hodge in a recent interview, quote, "We listen to our members and they are fed up of going to expensive bars hoping to meet similarly beautiful people, only to spend the night wishing that the lighting was lower," unquote. You know, back in my day, we tried to meet Martin Luther King's noble ideal of judging people not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Now the beautifulpeople.com want specifically to judge you by your appearance and presumably by the content of your bank account. Sure, because when we go into a bar, heaven forbid we might meet someone who was actually funny, interesting, thoughtful, or otherwise engaging, no matter how they looked. No, we'd rather meet someone who spends 4.5 hours a day admiring themselves in a mirror so that we can go home and make babies who we'll raise to be as narcissistic as we are. Since launching in 2002, BeautifulPeople.com reportedly has rejected 11 million applicants while allowing in only 800,000. So there's finally some positive news in this. 93% of all people trying to join this ghastly club get their ego slapped. You beautiful people militia, what a bunch of elitist snobs. Now, more than ever, we need to turn the other way to inclusiveness. But instead, you foment the kind of us-against-them mindset that encourages body shaming and bullying. If this seems a bit harsh, BeautifulPeople.com club, tough luck. That's what you get for repeatedly rejecting my damned application. I'm Greg Cote, and that's how it was back in my day.
Mike, I feel like we should all apply.
Right?
I feel like the show should apply. Each of us should apply and see who gets rejected and who doesn't get rejected.
I know that was like a takeout of BeautifulPeople.com, but I think I kind of want to see where we all shake out.
No, let's go ahead and do that. Let's figure out a way to put on the ESPN budget, whatever it costs, to all of us to apply.
I'm already a member.
Texter writes in here, if you want to talk race, why not get an opposing viewpoint on the show and actually debate? No.
See, very intrigued by the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Ferguson, the right people, the right products, right around the corner. Visit Ferguson.com today.
Dan Le Batard.
You and I probably define fat slightly differently. I'm someone who sees myself naked on the regular, and I don't consider myself fat.
Most would.
Stugotz.
You think most people would consider me fat?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
People are very judgmental. Most people would consider me fat as well.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
Guest on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Get in touch with the show anytime through the 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed, at Le Batard Show, at Stugotz790, at Greg Cote. With all the chaos and stress that Thanksgiving can bring, surprise your loved one by sending a beautiful 1-800-Flowers bouquet of 24 multicolored roses for just $24. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com/ESPN. Hurry. Offer ends on Friday.
So Mike Ryan has told us all to go through our phones. This has been funny because Cody just showed me the picture that he's sending to Allison. We're going to put all of these on ESPNU. But he's asked me to go through my phone and asked all of us to go through our phones and send Allison what we believe to be the most attractive picture of ourselves. And I don't have any, which isn't going to be surprising to anybody. But Mike Ryan is a little too eager to do this. Has everyone noticed how eager Mike Ryan is to see to have his beauty measured?
I mean, guys, it's like they only let in 7%. If you get in, like that's bragging rights forever.
Yeah, I'm taking it seriously as well.
Okay,
I think I'm going to get in here. I do. I sent a very, very flattering photo of myself. Rugged outdoor mountain man. I got a beard working. It's a good picture.
All right.
Yeah.
Cody, what is the picture that you were looking at? What were you wearing there? It was a purple tuxedo of some sort? What were you wearing?
A purple paisley shiny tuxedo.
All right. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, we are, as a show, going to nominate each of ourselves for beautifulpeople.com after Greg Cote railed against it. But what I'm hoping for with Mike Ryan is the same thing, and I've told this story before. What I'm hoping for with Mike Ryan is the same thing that happened to me at a brothel in Amsterdam with a famous athlete. I'll tell you the story now. Do you guys know this story? Some of you know this story.
I don't know.
Oh, I know.
Mike, why are you holding the dead fish?
It was one of those borderline dead fish moments, but I think we're going to power through.
Right. Well, it wasn't a brothel. I don't know what it would be. I guess it'd be it's in the red light district. It would be, I don't even know what that would be called. One of the boxes or cubes, or I don't even know what to call that. But if you've ever been to Amsterdam or you're familiar with the red light district, they basically have prostitutes under a red light, each of them with their own individual room. I can't believe I'm telling this story, but this is what I'm rooting for. This is what I'm rooting to happen here. So there's a commotion. There's a commotion around. This is such a great story. Wait a minute. You don't know this story, Cody? I've never told you this story.
I mean, I don't recognize it yet. Let's put it that way.
All right, what do you think? Is the audience going to experience this as a great story? All right, I don't.
Oh, yes.
I don't like to oversell these things.
Tell it because the expectation level.
All right. Well, I'm uncomfortable for obvious reasons. So here's the story. In Amsterdam, red light district, obviously all over the place, there are ladies of the night. What do we call hookers, prostitutes?
Baby.
Each of them with a red light, but there's a commotion around one. There's a commotion. There are a lot of people around one and nobody at any of the others. So I head over there with Athlete X. And Athlete X is somebody who's very successful with the ladies in this country. And so we're over there to see what the commotion about. And the commotion is that this woman is beautiful, really beautiful. And furthermore, she is deciding whether or not to take your money. So she continually rejects people right and left. And that's why there's a commotion, because she's beautiful and she's rejecting people. And so famous Athlete X goes up there and she's like, nope, get away from here. And he was pressuring me to do it. I'm like, I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it. I don't want to do this. This is not me. It's not my moral center. I'm sexually repressed. I don't want to do any of this. But I figure she's rejecting everybody else. She's rejecting all the beautiful people. So I'm going to waddle up there, and I could go ahead and save face with my friend with the peer pressure. And she'll just reject me. And then I did, whatever. I was kind of borderline a man. So I waddle up the stairs, and she accepts me.
Wow.
And now I'm in a room haunted and scared, and I hear noises in the back, and I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm totally uncomfortable. And this is what I want to happen to Mike, because Mike thinks he's the most beautiful among us, and I want Cody to get in beautifulperson.com while Mike gets rejected. The story ends awfully for me, okay? Awfully, the story ends for me. Because right now you're like, hey, well, that's kind of flattering. That's good. She was rejecting everybody else, and she takes you. Mm-hmm. But I'm telling you right now, scared is an awful way to do any of these things. And I'm in a foreign country, and I hear, like, behind the walls rustling and stuff. And I'm like, man, oh, man, this doesn't seem safe. It doesn't seem smart. These are not things that you should carry with you into the bedroom. This doesn't seem safe, and this doesn't seem smart, or not part of the hip swiveling toolbox that you should take into the bedroom.
So you were distracted a little bit.
Not distracted, scared. Fundamentally scared.
Nervous,
I thought I was going to get robbed, is what I was feeling when I was in there, because there was just so much noise going on in the back that wasn't sex. It was something else. It was commotion. It sounded like somebody was taking a man against his will, is what it sounded like.
Hard to relax.
Yes. Well, yes. Relax, the key word there. Hard not.
It might have helped you if in your ear you heard me going, boom, shake it, boom, boom.
I agree. It might have helped.
So anyways, here's what happens. I ruffle through my pockets. I'm like, how much does it cost to end all of this? How much? Just here. Tell me how much that is. Give it back. So now I'm walking back into the cluster of people who are like, man, that dude went fast.
It's Dan, Stu, and Greg Cote on ESPN Radio.
This is Larry Culpepper, and if you love college football as much as I do, enough to invent the playoff, you're welcome. Do yourself a favor and subscribe to the Championship Drive podcast in the Listen tab of your ESPN app. App is short for app.
Hey, basketball fans, I'm Cassidy Hubbard. On the latest NBA Lockdown podcast, me and Amin El-Hassan, along with producer Josh, discuss, is James Harden the real MVP this season? Are you a believer in him? Download the podcast.
Louisville heads to Houston to face a dangerous Cougar team on Thursday night.
47 yards right up the middle.
Coverage begins at 7 Eastern on ESPN and on ESPN Radio. Presented by Dr. Pepper.